What if I told you there was a cyber attack so perfectly crafted it could fool the very people who study this stuff for a living? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're going to dissect a masterclass in digital deception, an operation codenamed ForumTrol.
So that really brings up a big question, right? How in the world do you hack an expert, someone who studies global security for a living? Well, you don't use some clunky, obvious trap. No way. You use bait that's practically irresistible, something that plays right into their professional world.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's October 2023. A threat group, which we now know as ForumTrol, zeroes in on a really specific community. We're talking political scientists and top researchers at major Russian universities. And their weapon of choice? It wasn't some crazy, sophisticated virus. Nope. It was something much simpler, but way more clever. A perfectly disguised email.
And this is it. This is the bait. The whole attack kicks off with an email that looks like it's from eLibrary, which you have to understand is a huge, legitimate scientific resource over there. And the message? It's a bombshell. It tells the recipient they need to download a report about possible plagiarism in their own work. I mean, can you imagine? For an academic, that's something you simply cannot ignore.
And here's where the genius and the danger really lies. The deception was so subtle. These guys didn't just use some random, sketchy-looking domain. No, they actually registered eLibrary, but with a .wiki at the end. Then they cloned the entire official website. To the naked eye, it's an almost perfect illusion. It looks and feels completely legit.
So, you click the link. You'd think it just takes you to a web page, right? Wrong. Clicking that link didn't just redirect you. It sprung a carefully laid digital trap. And this wasn't some spontaneous thing. This ambush was meticulously assembled and left to age for months. It was designed from the ground up to slip past not just your own gut feeling, but automated security filters too. And this timeline, wow, it really shows you the kind of patience we're dealing with. They registered the fake domain way back in March, a full 6 months before they even sent the first email. This little trick is called domain aging, and it's a pro move. It helps the site build a bit of a reputation so it doesn't immediately get flagged as spam. We're not talking about amateurs here. This is professional level planning. And it gets even more personal. The attackers did their homework on every single target. They didn't just send a generic click here link. They actually personalized the downloadable file with the victim's full name, last name, first name, even their patronymic, which is a big deal in Russia. Just think about that. When you see a file named specifically for you, your guard just drops. It feels official, like it's meant for you and you alone.
Their behind-the-scenes work was just as slick. The fake website wasn't just a quick copy-paste job. It was a perfect clone. But they also added some clever roadblocks. For instance, they put in code to block the download if you weren't on a Windows computer. And get this, they also prevented you from downloading the file more than once from the same IP address. Why? To make it super difficult for security researchers like us to grab the file and pick it apart. They were trying to cover their tracks.
Okay, so the trap is set, the bait is taken. The big question is, what was actually inside that personalized zip file? The victim is expecting a plagiarism report, right? But what they got instead was a digital Trojan horse hidden in plain sight. So you unzip the file and the folder opens up. And it's not just one file, it's packed with over 100 decoy image files, all with common Russian names. It's a classic misdirection. The sheer number of these harmless-looking pictures is designed to do one thing: camouflage the one dangerous file hiding among them, a malicious shortcut. And that one single click is all it takes. It kicks off this whole chain reaction, a multi-stage infection that happens in the blink of an eye. A script runs silently in the background. It reaches out and downloads another piece of malware. And then, and this is the scary part, it embeds itself deep into the Windows operating system so it can survive a reboot. It's only after all that is done that it finally shows the user the decoy document they were expecting to see all along.
Now, how does it stay on the system? It uses this really clever technique called COM Hijacking. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine you're trying to send a letter, but someone secretly changes the address in your address book. That's what the malware does to Windows. It alters the system's address book, the registry, so that when Windows tries to run a normal, everyday program, it gets redirected to the attacker's malicious code instead. It's a sneaky way to get persistent, long-term access to the machine.
So let's just take a step back and look at the big picture here.
You've got the patience, the deep research, the technical skill. When you connect all these dots, the picture becomes crystal clear. This was not the work of some script kiddie in their basement. We are absolutely looking at a highly skilled, well-funded threat group.
And all these things, the long-term planning, the personalization, the multi-stage attack, the decoys, these are all the classic hallmarks of what we call an advanced persistent threat, or an APT group. Advanced for their technical chops and persistent because their goal isn't a quick smash and grab. They're in it for the long haul. They want to gain ongoing access to a target system. This has all the signs of a professional, maybe even state-sponsored operation.
And we know for fact this group has the skills to play in the big leagues. Because earlier in the same year, ForumTrol was caught using a zero-day vulnerability in Google Chrome. A zero-day, if you don't know, is a flaw in software that even the developers don't know about yet. Finding one and using it is like having a secret master key. It's proof that this group is operating at the absolute highest level of cyber espionage.
All right, so after all that, months of planning, intricate traps, high-level exploits, what was the point? What was the ultimate goal? What did the attackers actually want to do once they were inside a researcher's computer?
Well, while the final stage of the attack was running, the victim was looking at this, a blurry decoy document. See how it looks like a real report is loading? It's a simple but brilliant trick. It keeps the user sitting there, thinking everything's normal, maybe a little slow, but working. It reassures them. And all the while, the real payload is being deployed silently in the background.
And that final payload? It's something called the Tuoni framework. Now, this isn't just a simple virus. It's a powerful commercial toolkit, something cybersecurity pros use for legitimate testing. But in the hands of these attackers, it's a weapon. It gives them complete remote control over the computer. We're talking access to every file, recording every keystroke, even turning on the webcam and microphone. They don't just have a foothold on the computer, they own it.
You know, this whole operation of ForumTrol, it really drives home a sobering point. Technical defenses, firewalls, antivirus, they're not always enough. When attackers are this dedicated, willing to spend 6 months crafting a personalized, psychologically perfect lure, it leaves us with a really tough question. When the bait is this perfect, what is our best defense?